Hi, welcome to Vocation, Calling, and Purpose of Work. I'm Andrew Sears. I'm the president of City Vision University. This is one of our favorite classes out of all of our courses here, probably the one that students give the best feedback on. I'm excited to share about this course and what we're going to do in this course right now. So the course outcomes, after completing this course, you should be able to explain how your life story, personality, and personal identity inform your vocation and calling. Conduct market research to develop 3 different potential career paths. Set up meetings with mentors and networking contacts to provide input into your vocational discernment process. To identify ways that a Christian's worldview towards work can be distorted, and to develop a discipleship and spiritual formation plan to restore them. Develop a career strategy using business tools like personal SWOT analysis and personal branding, and to create a synthesis combining who you are with what you believe into a personal career and life plan. So the course outline really is just going through those steps across 8 weeks. So, week 1, you're going to reflect on your story. Week 2, you're going to do a personality type and relate that to career and calling. Week 3, you're going to go through an inventory called S.H.A.P.E. Week 4, you're going to go through and do some career path research and planning. Week 5 is when we're going to go in depth on Christian worldview and some of the ways that work gets distorted. And week 6 is we're going to talk more about Christian worldview and how we can redeem our work. Week 7 is where we're going to be doing the SWOT analysis and personal branding. And week 8 is going to be the developing a life plan. Now, you should plan to spend an average of about 17 hours per week on every 3-credit course. And that's just to be able to get the most depth. A lot of people don't realize that our courses are twice as intensive because we have 8-week terms. So whenever you take it, 2 courses is considered full-time. So plan accordingly in this course. Now, one of the design philosophies we use is a design philosophy that is really used widely in adult education. It's called constructionist approach to learning. Legos are actually a good example of this. But the idea is everything we're doing is organized around learning by building something. So we have a major project and we have other projects you're going to be doing. So all of those feed all the stuff you're going to be doing, the reading, the videos, and the templates we provide in the discussions really are feeding towards the major project. Now, another way of framing the design of this course, so you're going to have a lot of reading and videos, and we'll have both that will reinforce each other. And the first thing you're trying to do is to remember. You want to remember this material, so take good notes whenever you're going through the reading of material. And then we want to make sure that you understand the material. So that's a lot of the purpose of the forums and the live meetings. And in this course are actually more for reflection. And then you're going to apply, and each of these kind of builds on each other. So the application, weeks 1 through 4 are going to be largely application and analysis. And then weeks 5, 6, and 7 are going to evaluate. So you're going to be evaluating a lot of your plans through Christian worldview, but also using business tools. And then you're going to have a final project that's focused on your life plan. Now, this is something called Bloom's taxonomy of learning. This is what's called the cognitive domain. So this is basically how you would learn in your head. But this course is a spiritual formation course. So actually, the heart learning is as important as the head learning in this course. And there is another taxonomy that is used for that. And it's called Crayworth's affective domain taxonomy. So here's an example. So say someone is on a process towards becoming a Christian. Now the left side would be what they would do here, and the right side is actually what we're using in the course. The receiving level is someone who just maybe attends church. And that would be, in the course, you're actually just going through the materials. So the responding level is someone who actively learns about Jesus in their own time. So that would be if someone's, on their path to follow Jesus. And in this course, it would be if you actually complete the homework. The next level, so if someone was becoming a Christian, would be valuing is making a decision to follow Jesus. Now, in this course, what we're trying to get you to do is we're trying to get you at a heart level to adopt God's understanding of work, your own history. So how do you reinterpret your own history and your own purpose through God's lens? That's what we're trying to do in this course. And then the organizational level is, if someone is following Jesus, this would be the sanctification, how following Jesus slowly changes, that person's life. In this course, it's going to be developing and following a life plan based on the new understanding that you get down at this level. And then finally, the characterizing is, if you're following Jesus, you want to characterize Jesus in all aspects of your life. And in this course, what we're trying to do is help to get you, so you are characterizing living all of God's purposes for your life. So that's the heart level of what we're trying to do in this course. Now, another way of framing it is the three components, interrelated components of vocational discernment. So one is who you are. So weeks 1, 2, and 3 are going to be focused on that, your story, your personality, your shape. And then what you do. So weeks 7 and 8 and week 4 is where we're going to be talking a lot about career planning. And then what you believe. So that's, the theology or worldview of work. So that's going to be weeks 5 and 6. And all of these interrelate. And the idea is you want to combine all of those into your final project. Now, this course is a mentoring heavy course. So, we talked about we're trying to do the head, the heart, and hands in this course. So, using this diagram of who you are and you have these components, we have ways that you're going to be interacting with others to try to really change and affect your heart. Because the reality is, if you're not interacting with others and you're just doing stuff, on written assignments, then it's pretty much only going to be in your head. It's going to have very little impact on your heart. So the main reason why we have all these interactions, the live meetings, the meeting with mentors, is to try to help you, do more of the heart level processing on this. So you may, look at an assignment and say, you know what, I just wrote about this, and then you're sharing about it in class. Well, sharing about it with a live person is different than writing about it. So that's significantly different. So in week 2, you're going to share your lifeline and a live class meeting. Week 4, you're going to be meeting with a mentor, and there you're going to be reflecting with your mentor on who you are, and you're going to try to get their input on who you are. And then you're going to take your career research and plans. You're going to share your life plans and live class meetings in week 5. You're going to meet with, a career networking meeting. So this is going to be someone that's going to be more of a professional mentor. Not, this other one might be a relational mentor, spiritual mentor, but the professional mentor would be someone, if you want to be a licensed professional counselor, it would be someone who currently is, or, someone who's more advanced than you. And then in week 7, you're going to meet again with your mentor, and your mentor is going to look over, some of your initial life plans and provide input. So this would be professional input. This would be more holistic input from the mentor. And then what you believe, you're going to be in week 7 sharing some of your worldview reflections in the live class meeting. And the idea, hopefully through all of that processing, is it'll go more in depth at the heart level. Now, some people who took this course in the past, they said, well, it feels like I'm going over similar material in different ways, and that's exactly the purpose of this course. So some of you have probably heard of the kind of onion framework of understanding self. And so in the over on the left, I'm going to talk about, the different levels. So cognitive depth. So you're trying to get increased self-understanding. So you could have facts about yourself, and then you go and you try to learn about your story. So that's the next layer of the onion. And then, personality, your shape, and then you're working on the life plan, and then you get to worldview, and you get to your deepest fears, pains, and passions. And you could spend your whole life trying to learn all the layers of these. And what I've heard from, some people who are kind of very business minded or very organized minded, they just want to cut the whole onion, get it done. And the reality is, in self-discovery, you just can't, get it all done at once. And it's helpful to go through it in layers. Now, this is all at the head level, and your self-understanding is going to be largely at the head level. Now, there's a theory called social penetration theory, and it actually uses this onion analogy too, where you might interact with people and you just talk about the weather out here, and then week 6 is or not week 6, at this level, you're sharing, very in-depth stuff. So part of what the philosophy of, how do you do spiritual formation is you're trying to build trust with other people, and you're going to be sharing more in depth. Now, I don't want people to share more in depth than they're comfortable with, so have good boundaries in this course. But part of what we're trying to do is get you to share both with others in this course and with your mentor more things about yourself in ways that can, help you grow in your own spiritual formation. So that would be sharing each of these levels with someone. And, there's going to be things that your deepest fears, pains, and passions. Okay, you may not go fully in depth in sharing with someone you just, met in a course. But you might want to reflect on that personally. You might have a mentor that you have, high trust with. And that's a part of the purpose of this course is, you're doing heart work whenever you're sharing that with others. So another way of framing this course is just framing it in the whole program at City Vision University. So we often explain that we're trying in our management and ministry course programs, so our ministry degree, our business degree, and our nonprofit management and MBA degree, we're trying to get you to have competencies across 4 domains: ministry, business, entrepreneurship, and operations. And this course falls within the ministry domain, and it falls particularly within the spiritual formation. So this is a spiritual formation course. We have other courses, vocation, calling, and purpose of work, and then we have other things. So what we're trying to do is help you to develop ministry and relational competencies. And part of the idea is if you understand who you are better, you're going to relate to other people better. And then we also have business and funding competencies, operations and governance competencies, and innovation competencies. And then we have our introduction and capstone courses that basically try to combine all of these things. Now, one thing that's important is often students have a quadrant that's their preference. So my preference, I love the entrepreneurial quadrant. My least favorite quadrant is the operations quadrant. Now, depending on who you are, you may love this course, or it may be, if you're right-handed, feeling like it's on your left hand. So a lot of times people who are like purely business or purely operations, this course is going to feel a little bit like their left hand. So if you're a ministry or relational person, you're going to love the identity and worldview parts of this course. And part of what we're trying to do in this course is we're combining a business framework and a ministry framework. And so there's part of this course that covers branding and business tools. And we've had some people from the ministry framework that they don't like that. They judge those. And a lot of ministry people, so this course, can be meandering. We're doing layers of an onion, and a lot of ministry and relational people, that's perfectly fine with them. They like that. Now, business people, often I've found, love the personal branding and the business tools like the Startup of You. They feel like sometimes they might not see the value of the parts of the worldview discussion, and they may dislike the meandering process of this course. And the operations and governance people often might just want a detailed list of the exact steps you can use to find your calling. And they greatly dislike the meandering process of this course. They'd say, just get me to the center of the onion. I don't care about the layers. And the reality is that's not how you're going to learn about yourself. If you could just figure it out and just have the answer, that would be nice, but that's not how self-discovery works, and that's not how spiritual formation works. And the innovation people, they love the book, The Startup of You. They like personal branding. Sometimes they may not, like the worldview, or may not like the worldview, and they're comfortable with the meandering process of this course. So part of what we're trying to do is we're trying to help people become bicultural across ministry and business cultures. Because often you have staff that have a ministry mindset and they don't like to use business tools, or business people who don't like to use ministry. We're forcing you to use both tools. So we're trying to get you, if you're a ministry person, we're trying to acculturate you to business language, tools, and frameworks. If you're a business person, we're trying to acculturate you to ministry language, tools, and frameworks. So because of that, we have one course, or one book that is in the ministry framework, and one book that's in the business framework, in this course. So Every Good Endeavor is more of a ministry framework, and the business framework is the Startup of You. And we want you to be bilingual. That's why we're having you do both. So, and part of that is because we want you to be bridge builders with fluency in ministry and business culture. Often, if you're serving clients, your clients might, need you to be kind of in the ministry culture. But if you're trying to get resources from funders, you need to be fluent in the business culture. And ultimately, what we need is for people to be bridge builders. So what is calling? What is vocation? So vocation is often used, you have vocational schools, but the idea is vocation in Christian circles is often used synonymous with calling. And Frederick Buechner said that calling is the place where God calls you to, is a place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. I like to break things up, and so that's kind of like two components. I like to break things up into four components. So, and the four components I like for people to consider is, what are you good at? What do you enjoy? What will the world pay for? And what does the world need? And whenever you get into Tim Keller's book and Every Good Endeavor, he covers these three. Part of the reason why I added this fourth one is because I think in the nonprofit sector, we're not just concerned about what's going to get me the maximum dollar. We're concerned much more about, what the world needs. So now there's another domain you can think about this. So, as you go vertical, this top half is more about status. So if you do something you're really good at that the world pays a lot for, then you're going to have good status. But if you do something you really enjoy and the world really needs, you may have meaning. And then on the left and right, your internal motivation, that's the deep gladness from the previous quote. What are you good at and what do you enjoy? That's where you'd get deep gladness if you did those two. And what the world will pay for and what the world needs is external motivation, the world's deep hunger. Now, what happens with most people is most people get off balance. So they pursue status, only these top two, and they get status without meaning. So they have empty success, and that the stereotype for that is kind of the corporate drone person. So then the next one is meaning without status. So in the nonprofit sector, I meet people have this all the time. So, they're financially unsustainable. They're the starving under volunteer, or they're significantly underpaid, barely getting by. And you have to think more about this top part. What are you good at? What will the world pay for? And then over here, if you focus too much on this side, you're going to be underemployed. You're going to be the starving artist. So you may be a great guitar player, but it's not. There's just too many guitar players, and you just can't make a living, doing that. And you're underemployed, and you're the starving artist. And then over on this side, if you just focus on the external motivation, you're going to have burnout, and you're going to be kind of the joyless worker. So ultimately what you're trying to do is balance all four of these things. So another framework to think about in this course is we have human vocation, and in Every Good Endeavor, Tim Keller, I think, calls this common grace. And then you have the Christian vocation. And the summary is every Christian is called to, what Jesus said the summary of the Bible is, love God, love others. And so everyone has that as a part of their calling. But then you have a unique personal vocation. So that's another framework to think about it. Now, with vocation, a lot of times people will distort that and just say, that's my job. But in the book, the other 6 days, Paul Stevens talks about 6 aspects of vocation. So some of that is going to be, in service to the neighbor. So that would be, your job, society, stewardship, and mission, your congregation, how you're serving in your church, what you're doing with your family, personally, spiritually, and then having Sabbath. How are you doing rest, play, worship, and celebration? Now, in this introduction, I'm giving you a lot of frameworks. I got one more framework here that I'm going to explain, and this is kind of the Iceberg framework. So Many of our students, especially, we have about 20-30% of our students that are, recently out of prison, recently completed a addiction recovery program. And what they really want is they just want a good job. So that's the presenting problem. And that's like the tip of the iceberg. Now, you've all heard that 90% of the iceberg's underneath. So then you go down to what are the causes, and you start to work on the personal life plan. And you might, in your personal life plan, you might say, I need more education. That's why you're at City Vision. I need better people skills. I need, more access to opportunities. But below that is worldview or paradigms, and you need your worldview shifted, and you need spiritual formation. So I need values that are going to bring me success. Some people get caught up in a poverty mentality, so you need to shift that to values that are going to bring, and I'm not just talking about worldly success, but success through God's eyes. I need a transformation of my worldview. I need acculturation. If you've lived a lot of your life, on the street, you're going to need acculturation to business culture. If you've gone to Bible school and you're trying to fundraise, you're going to need to get acculturation to business culture. And I need emotional and relational health. So, and even below that is recognizing that no person is an island. So you need a community that has a collective worldview. You need to be a part of, Christian civilization, so to speak. And you need to have a community of support with healthy, comprehensive worldview. So one of our partners said they did an analysis on their graduates of their recovery program, and they found that only 20% would remain sober after a year if in their program on average. But they found if the person got a job, they found a Christian community, and they had housing, then 90% would remain sober. So what that does is that gets into a personal life plan. You got to get a job. You need to have a Christian community. And if you have all of those things, and if you're working with people and you can do all of those things, then you're going to have a much more significant transformation. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do in this course. So that's it for the course. I hope you enjoy this course. This is honestly might be my favorite course at City Vision. And we often get reviews from students that are saying that this is the most transformative course they've taken with us. So I hope you enjoy this course. Please put as much as you can into it, and share with others in the course. Thanks a lot.